Icarus story. On the island of Crete, there lived a genius inventor named Daedalus and his son Icarus. Daedalus was known as the greatest toolmaker and architect of his time. However, due to a mistake and political intrigue, he and Icarus were sentenced to be imprisoned in a high tower. Throughout their imprisonment, Daedalus constantly pondered how to escape. The seas were heavily guarded, and the land was also under surveillance. There was no escape by land or water. Finally, Daedalus had an idea. If they couldn't escape by land or sea, then they would have to escape by air. Daedalus began gathering materials. First, feathers from birds that had fallen around the tower. 2. Melted wax to hold the feather together. 3. A wing frame made of light wood. For days, he assembled 2 sets of large wings, one for himself, one for Icarus. Icarus was amazed. This was the first time he realized that his father was not just a genius, but someone who could make dreams seem possible. When the wings were ready, Daedalus gave Icarus some stern advice. Don't fly too high, or the sun might melt the wax that hold your feather together. Don't fly too low, or the sweater might wet your wings and weigh them down. Follow my flight path. Icarus nodded confidently, though his heart was filled with unbridled joy. They began to flap their wings. The wind lifted their bodies. For the first time, humans had achieved flight. Icarus felt an incredible sense of freedom. The island seemed tiny like dots. The sea seemed like glass. The wind felt welcoming. The happiness made him forget his father's warning. The feeling of flying made Icarus want to soar even higher. Daedalus called out to him to stay close, but the wind was too loud, and Icarus was too lost in his euphoria. He flew higher and higher, closer to the sunlight. The heat of the sun began to melt the wax on his wings. One feather fell, then another. Icarus only realized the danger when he had already lost control. He tried to descend, but his wings were damaged. Icarus fell from the sky, and his body sank into the ocean. The sea where he sank was eventually called the Icarian Sea in his honor. Daedalus landed safely, but he wept at his son's fall. He blamed himself, not for creating the wings, but for seeing a child wonder turn into tragedy. He buried Icarus and continued his life in sorrow, carrying the legend into the future. The story of Icarus teaches us freedom requires control, not just courage. When we ignore advice and boundaries, we can lose everything. Ambition is good, but without self-awareness, it can end tragically.